What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we're going to be talking about Vinco Ventures, ticker symbol BBIG. This stock has been through a rough ride over the past 12 hours and after hours. If you looked at the chart around 8 yesterday, it would have looked very grim to most people. So let's take a look at the chart for ourselves, and you can see what I'm talking about. You can see that we were down massively in after hours, and a lot of people were very scared. It looks like we are on the way to a nice recovery, right? We have regained support at several levels, right? At 570 at $6 we've seen support as well, and now at 7 it looks like we may be breaking through, although it's always possible that we'll probably continue to struggle at this level for a little bit, right, before bouncing off of it, hopefully to the upside, right? So what happened with this stock to cause it to go down? Why is it now going up, and where are we likely to go in the future? That's what we're going to cover in this video today. So first of all, let's talk about why this stock was going up before this massive crash, right? Why this stock was moving up in anticipation of a key event, right? So right here, you can see Vinco Ventures had a PowerPoint released where they were talking about all of the key events that were going on with the stock. And the main event that had a lot of people interested was the TYDE dividend. And this TYDE dividend was essentially going to be a dividend paid out as a form of another company, right? With a ticker symbol TYDE. And that would be given to people who were holding the stock before Friday, October 22nd. So Friday, October 22nd was meant to be the record date for the TYDE dividend, meaning that the ex-dividend date was likely going to be October 21st, the day before October 22nd. So anyone holding the stock then through the 22nd would be eligible to receive this TYDE dividend based off of how many BBIG shares they're holding. And that would have likely caused, a lot of people to be buying up this stock the day before and trying to get in on the dividend, essentially trying to get free shares of a company. So people were expecting that this thing would continue running up, and there were a lot of catalysts that could have continued its run up. For instance, the potential for a gamma squeeze, right? We had a lot of open interest call options in the money, and even more close to being in the money if we could have continued pumping up, and that could have caused a gamma squeeze. We also have a very high short interest on this stock, 25%, and a lot of those shorts may have needed to cover if we saw a massive boost in price before the dividend and after the dividend, right? A lot of people may have continued to hold the stock. It may have garnered more interest in the stock as more people heard about the first dividend of this kind being given out. And that really could have led to a big appreciation in stock price. Now, what we ended up seeing just yesterday and what caused this massive dip in stock price was an SEC filing from Vinco Ventures, which essentially said that instead of doing the dividend, instead of recording it on October 22nd, they would instead be changing the way it was done. They need to file a Form 10, and they're going to not be able to do that until October 25th. And they're going to push the dividend to back 60 days after that day. So December 27th is when they now expect to be able to do that dividend. And that basically just pushes this thing back 2 months, which caused a massive crash in stock price, right? A lot of people had probably already bought up their BBIG shares in anticipation of this big dividend coming out and wanted to hold through, the next couple of days to get that dividend. However, when this got pushed back 2 months, it caused likely a lot of algorithms to trigger sell orders and push the thing down massively, right? I don't think that this was a retail move in after hours. This happened around 5 o'clock yesterday, and I just don't think that retail traders were sitting at their computers watching the release of this SEC filing and then moments later dropping all of their BBIG shares, right? And you can also tell that this was likely algorithms because it played essentially perfectly off of the support and resistance levels that we had drawn previously, right? It dropped all the way down to $6, where it formed the bottom of these two candles, and the wick actually touched this support level right here before shooting up, bouncing off of 7 as a resistance, moving all the way down to 570 again, bouncing off almost perfectly on that, and then we gained some support at $6. So it's likely algorithms that were trading at this point. Algorithms tend to trade off of the TA more so. Also the news, the news is what prompted this big sell-off, but then they were using the TA to trade minute by minute. Now, you can see that we're kind of starting to move up, right? We're now using $7 as a support level. Very good to see. It's not guaranteed that we're not going to, dip below it again and continue playing at this $7 level because it is a kind of key support level. It wouldn't surprise me to see us play at $7 for a little bit more. But, we could continue rising, right? Because a lot of people are potentially going to be buying the dip on this because not much has changed with regard to the TYDE dividend other than the time frame, okay? So people are still expecting this TYDE dividend. They're just expecting it later than they originally were, which is, unfortunate, right? A lot of people wanted the TYDE dividend now, but if they were willing to be paying $8 a share for BBIG just a couple of days before, then why wouldn't they still be willing to pay $8 a share for BBIG just because they have to wait a bit longer for the TYDE dividend? I think that it's almost a good thing, right? Because the TYDE dividend, after it happened, many people may have decided to dump their BBIG shares, depending on what they were in it for, right? Maybe they just wanted the TYDE dividend and then they were done with BBIG after that. Could actually be a good thing for BBIG. It could keep BBIG's rally going for longer and give people more time to actually squeeze out shorts. So there is some upside to this, right? It's not all bad news. A lot of people who did want the dividend and wanted to see how it worked, unfortunately, that's not going to happen for 60 more days at least. But a lot of people who want to trade and hold BBIG and have it, have more potential to be running up over the long term. If you look at the yearly chart, there is more potential now over the next 60 days for us to continue running up and continue the short squeeze, because it's very possible that after the dividend record date that a lot of institutions may have tried to manipulate this thing down. They may have tried pushing it down with shorts, and obviously there would be some natural sellers right after the dividend. People do that with every type of dividend, and this would likely be no different, that after the record date, a lot of people tend to sell the stock. That's just the way they trade. Now that they've collected the dividend, there's no point in holding the stock. They view it. And, a lot of people want to hold BBIG for the long term, too. So this is actually good for those people, I think, the fact that this dividend has been pushed out. Now, you can also see that BBIG is moving up on the rankings, right? More people are talking about it on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. We're up 11 or 12 spots today to spot number 11. Hopefully, we can get in the top 5 or top 3 stocks over the next couple of days if this volume keeps moving up, right? We're up 279%. Mention-wise over the past 24 hours. That's very good. I like to see that more people are talking about BBIG. And you can also see that on StockTwits, we are the number 1 most active stock on StockTwits. Very impressive, despite being down 9% today. I think that a lot of people are viewing this as a buy the dip opportunity because they're now able to get in much cheaper, especially if you were in on the pre-market. Right now, it's only about a 10% or 8% dip off the close. But if you got in after hours or pre-market, you were buying at a significant discount compared to where it had been just a couple of hours prior. So, if you're in this for the long haul and you want to hold for the dividend, then that was a pretty good buying opportunity. And this does show some of the strength that BBIG has, right? That there are a lot of people who are interested in this, and just because the algorithms push us down for a couple of hours doesn't mean that we're not going to rebound. So this is actually very bullish, what we're seeing. The fact that we're moving back up to 7, and people who did panic sell, it's unfortunate that some people may have noticed in after hours that this thing was down 20% and sold their shares. That didn't seem like a great choice at the time just because it had dropped so much, and it wasn't a cancellation of the dividend. It was just a postponement of the dividend. So it's just being pushed back. I think that a lot of people are going to continue buying this up in expectation of the dividend. And if anything, this is going to give the company more time to publicize the event. More people are going to be able to find out about the dividend. This whole debacle, the fact that it's now trending on StockTwits and Wall Street Bets means that more people are going to be hearing about this stock and the dividend and potentially be buying in because of that. So all in all, it seems like a fairly bullish situation that we have going on for BBIG. I do think that this news could potentially actually end up being beneficial for them, even though it seems kind of bearish in the short term when it dropped 20%. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the case. Now, obviously, there is always the situation where we could see some more manipulation with this stock, right? Because the institutions that are shorting this do not want the stock to return to its prior levels. They want it to actually continue sinking. And you can see that we were actually having a bit of a negative day the day prior. So it's always possible that the institutions will manipulate this thing down, whether it be through shorting it, right? They haven't been afraid to short it in the past. If you look at this line, this yellow line, which is tracking the short interest as the percentage of the free float, you can see that it's basically just been moving straight up. We're even up 0.77% today. Shorts are going to try and push this thing down, and they do still have a lot of ammo left. They were only shorting 25% of the free float of the stock, and while the utilization is at 100, there are other ways to push a stock down artificially. You can always push things down with manipulation and propaganda, which is something that I've heard. A lot of people in the comments have been saying that there have been articles going around that are bashing BBIG stock, talking about the CEO and just trying to move this thing down in general. So obviously institutions are trying something, right? They've got something up their sleeve. They're trying to push this thing down. They can't short it that much more, but they are willing to do whatever it takes to push it down. So we're going to have to see what happens at the $7 level. It will be somewhat key to see if we can stay above that or if we end up breaking below. If we do break below, then I think we would technically be in a bit of a downtrend, right? But if we can stay above $7, then it may just be that we regained some support and took a minor step back off of some news that was initially viewed as negative, but over the long term, I think could be positive for the stock. So that's what I have for you guys today on BBIG. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, then feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated if you would do that. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.